The Morning Brew podcast with Jaffe and Razor, sponsored by Berkshire Bank Home Lending. Where you borrow matters. All right, so it is supposed to be a Good Friday, literally, not figuratively, but literally. And Good Friday, happy Good Friday, happy Passover, if you are starting to observe and celebrate that. Was it a good Thursday for the Boston Bruins? We welcome you into this Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. This is a true morning brew, not the late night kind, but the morning brew, as Razor and I record this on Friday morning. Bruins lose to the Ottawa Senators 3-2 in regulation. Game that, holy shit, had a lot of stuff, and we are going to talk about it all. Razor, before we get going, I also just want to mention something really quick. Came to our attention earlier this morning that Mike Bossy, former New York Islander great, passed away, had been battling illness for a while, but still just a brutal way to start the day. I got to know Boss real well my days calling Islander games, and just like Clark Gillies and just like Jean Potvin, was a wonderful person to get to know. I was honored to get to meet him, and loved talking hockey with him. And I couldn't believe, he's not that big of a guy, and yet, holy smokes, could he score and shoot and made it look easy. So very sad, and condolences to him, family, to his family, his friends, to the Islanders. Did you get a chance to meet him at all, talk to him at all?
Never crossed paths, but yeah, sad, too young, only 65, jeez.
65 years old. So again, deep condolences to his family, friends, teammates, etc. All right. Listen, there are days when you watch a hockey game, and I feel like you perhaps in same thing when you're playing it too, right, Razor, where you feel good, you kind of have a real handle on everything that's going on, and you feel like you're in control. Whether player, broadcaster, whatever, I'm sure as a coach too, right? And there's other days where it just seems like it just takes a moment and you're just kind of like, what's going on? Like, that's kind of the way I felt last night watching that game. Felt pretty good after the first period. Bruins go up 2-0. The whole Linus Ullmark incident where he got absolutely cranked in the head, in the face by a slap shot that deflected off of Jesper Froden's leg, comes out after the first. And then the second period just felt like for a long time the Bruins lost it. I got to be honest with you, bud. I kind of lost it. Like, picking up the feel of the game. Sometimes, I don't know if you ever have this now as a broadcaster, like you feel like you see everything clearly, cleanly, crisply. And then there's other times where I'm watching and maybe it's just the perch where we're at. And sometimes I'm like, what is going on? And I feel like, you're out of it a bit. It could be all the food I was eating too. But anyways, the game had a lot of different personalities. I don't love the result. I put it this way. I'm okay with the result. Losses happen, but I'm not okay with what I felt was just something that avoidable again. This had a different feel in the St. Louis game. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. It was, the St. Louis game felt maybe a little sleepy. This one felt a little, like you said, a little discombobulated. You like that? You use that word a lot. I like that word. It felt like it was a snowball rolling down the hill that no one could stop in that second period. And even in the third, like, it just never felt like they got on the same page. There was no momentum from line to line. There was no one good shift, then two good shift.
That's a great point right there. They never garnered heavy momentum. And I think maybe that's what I was so disappointed about, that they could. It's not that shit doesn't happen, but it's like, and I know they're missing guys, But they got to still be good enough to eliminate that against an Ottawa team, which has got some talent. Don't get me wrong, but they never could. That's a great point. They never regained sustained momentum.
Yeah, like typically we see them, even if they give up a goal early in the period or they give up a 5-on-3 goal, they find a way at the end of that second period to pump one in, or at least have sustained shots, momentum for 5 minutes. And listen, a lot of that, and the more you see it not happening, the more you recognize how important that power play is for this group, and how often that power play gets that random goal to create that at the end. So many times I feel like they've had bad second periods, but they get a goal late in the second on a power play. So often that's happened. And when it doesn't happen, they really struggle to get going, and that was the feel last night. They just couldn't sustain it.
Not going to run through the X's and O's or anything. The Bruins, I mean, the only thing I'm going to do is this, a quick synopsis. The Bruins up 2-0. Mark McLaughlin, Jesper Froden score. We will touch on both of them quickly. But then in the second period, it was 3 goals. Brady Tkachuk, just 47 seconds in. Then Josh Norris, his 33rd goal of the season at the halfway mark of the second period, scores on the power play. And then just quickly after that, Tim Stützle, double dots over his U. So it's not Stutzel, it's Stützle, scores his 18th goal of the season on the power play as well. Those were the goals in the game. Bruins end up out shooting the Ottawa Senators 42-32, including a 16-8 pretty dominant first period. But again, they lose. Shots matter. Yeah, they do, but not really. I mean, they do, but. So there's your synopsis there. And then we got so much shit to get into. We're going to get into. Go ahead, though. I can tell that you want to say something.
No, I was just going to say with the shots, and yes, they don't matter, but and it just goes to like, it's not the complete end of the world here. There's, I know a lot of people, a lot of fans are worried, concerned. Is this going to carry? They did get over 40 shots their last 2 games. Every time they lose, they get over 40 shots. And I understand that it doesn't tell the story. They didn't have a lot of high danger opportunities in either game, but pucks do sometimes go in and sometimes they don't go in. And you can say that, 2-on-42 consistently doesn't happen in the NHL.
Okay, you're right.
Get that in there.
Okay, but just not a counterpoint, but a counter question. But Anton Forsberg did not steal the game, correct? He did not steal the game. I don't think so.
No, he was very good, and the Bruins didn't get puck luck. They didn't get a Stützle bouncing rebound out in front that landed on a stick. That's all I'm saying. So no, he didn't steal the game. It wasn't a dominant performance by the Bruins by any means. I'm just saying when they play bad, they still get 40 shots. So which means they're not completely terrible.
Like they were good in the first.
Yeah,
they were good. They were good in the first. So let's talk about what happens early in the second. But first, we'll touch on this. Linus Ullmark, again, slap shot from the left point, correct? It was from the left side. Who was it, Delzato?
I don't remember.
Can't remember. Holy shit. Sorry, folks. And I didn't drink last night or this morning. I'm just coffee. Anyway, slap shot, and it bounces off the leg of Jesper Froden, and it goes right off the bucket, right off the melon of Linus Ullmark. You could tell right away. I mean, it hit him, and he didn't pick it up right away because of this. I'll call the screen or deflection. First of all, what's the heaviest shot do you remember that you took off your head ever when you were playing?
Yeah, absolutely. In the minors against Portland Friday night in Providence, I forget who the player was. He was like an old pro guy, like good player, good power play guy. And he came down my left side, so like the right wing, and corked me, like put a dent in my helmet, literally like chipped my helmet. And I was conked for 2 or 3 weeks, my second year pro. So that was by far the hardest I got hit. I mean, I got hit by guys in the NHL, which hurt too, but that one, the way it hit me, the way it got me, I remember I gave up 3 goals at the end of the game. I think we ended up losing, and like I was out of it. It was and no one cared about concussions back then. So it was like, rub some dirt on it and finish the game. I wasn't going to leave the game with 10 minutes left in the third period. But ended up 2 goals late or something, and someone, of course, the Bruins GM, Gordon was there and everyone was watching and giving me a hard time, but I ended up missing a couple weeks. So,
all right. So
that guy's name.
Well, we'll go through it. We have time to figure it out,
Yeah.
but Linus Ullmark, if he's out 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah. Well,
we're
yeah, no.
if we
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
know.
No, that's not good at all. And you hope that it was. You hope he wakes up today and he's, it feels okay. So again, the issue with it, typically now the helmets are so good that there's guys don't get these knocks. The issue is it gets tipped and he's looking one way and he kind of gets it off to the side where it's not. That's not how the mask is designed to stop it. If you everything you take head on now is going to go.
It deflects.
Meant to deflect. That one, it gets him right on the jaw, right on the side of the face, because he's looking to his left where the shot's going, gets tipped back and hits him. Can't prepare yourself. Jaw's not clinched. You're not expecting it. And, your body's not prepared to take it. So your head gets rattled, brain gets rattled.
So he gets hit hard. You can tell right away that he's like, okay, he shakes, literally, he takes that moment, he looks down,
Yeah.
he composes himself in play and continues to make three saves. Active, by the way, active saves,
Yeah.
like not just straight on stuff, moving. Whistle blows. I don't remember how many, the time frame from hit, shot to finish to whistle. Then the official Ian Walsh comes over to him, and I think he knew right away how significant of impact, to your point, was. They just caught him. It really rattled him, Razor. And, was talking to him, I think encouraging him, right, to go to the bench, basically.
Yeah.
I've seen officials, all kidding aside, talk to players, intimately, so to speak, meaning, you can tell that they're having genuine conversation. But this was as long as a conversation I've ever seen with an official, to a player. And eventually Linus does go to the bench, talks with the medical staff a little there, talk, and again, a very quiet, very intimate conversation, and like, yeah. And then he comes back, plays a pretty good first period. But
Really
then he
good.
goes in, into the locker room and doesn't come out. We saw Swayman on the big screen get ready to come out, and we said, oh, going to be a goalie change. So obviously the heart rate comes down. Linus sits down and starts not feeling well. That just has to be the story of the situation.
Yeah, because and you would think a spotter got involved. Bruce didn't know afterwards whether a spotter was in the mix or not. But yeah, he just sits down. He feels a little cloudy still, and again, nowadays you don't take that risk to continue. So you hope a good night rest. You hope that there was nothing ailing him this morning when he woke up. You hope he rides the bike, whatever the testing mechanisms are. He probably rides the bikes 20 minutes, feels good after that, and then you don't have to worry about it for 3 weeks. That doesn't mean he's going to play on Saturday or be around on Saturday.
I'd be surprised, quite honestly, if he
well,
plays
he's not going
Saturday.
to play. He's definitely not playing.
Yeah.
So again, you just hope that he can get back in on Tuesday. And I would, you have no idea with a head. You have no idea, but if he doesn't have any issues prior, if he hasn't been hit in the head in a while, as a goaltender, I would typically expect him to be there Tuesday. That kind of a shot, that kind of a play with the equipment the guys have nowadays shouldn't be a long-term thing. That's how I feel.
Right. Well, we're not going to sit here and play guess doctor, or doctor guess. We're just going to say we know that whether he took himself out or the trainers took him out, regardless, irrelevant, he's out after the first. Swayman comes in, and seconds into the second period, Brady Tkachuk banks in a shot from behind the goal line. Watch the replay a couple of times. I'm not convinced that Sway you knew exactly where the puck was after the first attempt, Razor, meaning it bounced off him, and I think he's actually looking a little more towards the middle, just off his left, not behind the goal line. I think that's where it catches him off guard. And I asked you, and Nesson, I said, doesn't he have to seal that side better? I don't think he knew the puck was completely behind the goal line there. That's not a knock on him. I think he felt it, and where did it go, so to speak. But I guess, you still want that side anchored. I think that goal, I know that goal changed the tone of the entire game. My take, at least.
Yeah, and I think just the goaltending change did. The team's playing well. They're having a good first. Everything's going well, and then here we go. We got another injury, and that's where I also feel where this group's at a little bit. They're kind of feeling sorry for themselves with these injuries and kind of saying, well, we're going to get through this when the guys get back, and for Jeremy, it's a really tough spot. Hasn't felt great about his game the last few games, and you go in and you have a scrambly play like that. And to your point, it's even harder to pick the puck up when you've been sitting on the bench for 25 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes in real time, and you have to jump out there and you don't get an easy shot from the point to start out. You have a scrambly play around your net, and you don't. And it goes off your back, and you're just kind of like, oh, here we go again. And then you give up 2 quick ones again on the power play. So tough start, but I will say the third period was very good as he's played. After the third goal, essentially, he gave up 3 on his first 6 shots. So he ended up making 15, 16 straight saves afterwards, and looked as sharp as he has in a couple weeks. So that's a positive for Jeremy. First 10 minutes weren't positive, and he ends up taking another L.
I am not saying, just to be clear, that he lost the game for the Bruins. I am not saying that. I'm saying I think the goal that gave up, that was given up.
Yeah, that and the goal, again, losing Linus, then the goal right away, you feel sorry for yourself for 10 minutes. And that's all it takes in the NHL to lose a lead and get down.
And you have some questionable penalty calls and non-calls. And I'm not going to sit here and bitch about the refs. I'm not, but curious. I believe you put out on Twitter. What did you put out? You put out something about, the NHL officials still can be confusing at times.
It's confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing. And I thought it was too. I thought especially the call on Patrice Bergeron to make it a 5-on-3. Look, Riley's high stick was embellished a little bit by Brady Tkachuk. I felt it was, but he still had his stick over the shoulders and up. We touched on this a few games ago. Riley's got to keep his stick down more. I know it sounds simple, but it's a basic premise of the game. Your stick is meant to be on ice, not up. Now, Brady's
there's a reason why those guys skate around with no masks and no face masks and half shields, and no one's getting high stuck in the face. Now, if you go to the men's league, beer league at 10:30 at night, and if guys wore no mask, everyone would have a high stick in the eye and the face and losing teeth because people don't control their sticks. Those guys in the NHL level have complete control and are supposed to have complete control in every situation, in every play. And the fact that you continually get high sticks means you are out of position and or you are unaware of, you're not picking up the pace of play. You're not involved in the game. That's how guys think at the NHL level. No one should ever get a stick in the face. And if they do, they're not paying attention or they're very, very, very unlucky.
Yeah, and not in control. So, I mean, look, Brady Tkachuk is a man-child. He is. He is like Walt. He's like his dad. He is baby Huey, so to speak, out there. I mean, and he's a strong kid. And he could have, his size, his strength may have had something to do with it, and that he's powering by, Riley. But Riley still can't let that thing ride up. It grazes the face. Doesn't matter. That's a call. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But the Bergeron call, just because you have a parallel stick, meaning doesn't mean you can't be allowed to engage into a battle. Now, if you use it to prohibit, I don't think he hooked the hands. I think he had the stick parallel, and you have to be able to battle. And I know that you're not supposed to ref the situation, meaning 5-on-3 or 5-on-4, but it's just kind of a vibe thing, man. When you're making it a 5-on-3, you make sure it's a call that impacts the scoring chance, etc. A distinct trip, a cross check, a high stick, or whatever. It didn't. My book, it didn't. I was very disappointed in that call. Very.
Yeah, that's and yes, technically you're not supposed to ref the situation, but that's what you do at the NHL level. You ref the situation. You ref the entire game. You're supposed to
manage.
You're supposed to have management. You're supposed to understand situations. You're supposed to just have some hockey sense. It's hockey sense. And it was very obvious that another young referee had no hockey sense out there. You have a guy that's played in the league for 20 years, going to the Hall of Fame, that's made that play 17,000 times in his life at the National Hockey League level. And it's not a penalty. It's just not. It's not a penalty at 5-on-3 in the middle of a game. And it happens every night. Listen, it's every single night. And you just hope that these young guys are getting their reps in this year. They go to work, they study all summer, they get better next year, and they don't play. They're not involved in too many playoff games, because if they are, it's going to make for a mess.
Yeah. Well, it's a young referee. I don't have the amount of games that he's officiated in front of me, and I didn't want to. I want to get off of this too, but but he played hockey in the minors, and it's a guy that's still different from somebody who have played and officiated. Trust me, it's nice to have playing experience, but it doesn't change. It helps, but it doesn't help that much when you're out there officiating, because you look at the game differently. Look, the NHL has made it to where now, it's almost like if your stick is ever parallel, no matter what, it's going to be called. And the problem is that's too easy. You have to understand the moment.
Too general.
It's too general. It gives them an out all the time. You see a lot of times referees will hold up, and if you're on YouTube watching this, they'll show you, like, the ref will do this to the player, like, you had it parallel. So what? I mean, if you're, it's one thing, parallel hook, bring the guys in. If you get the hands and really bring it in, but not, it just makes it too easy for these guys. But yet we miss a lot of these heavy hits, or we miss a lot of these other things. So let's get off of it. We know that the Bruins end up giving up these goals. You have the Norris goal, which was a cannon. This player's a good player, folks. Josh Norris is going to be a hell of a player in the league for a long time. And then you have Stützle come down, as Razor, you said, off of a rebound to make it 5-4. 5-4, Jesus, 3-2.
5-on-4, they did.
5-on-4, yeah. And then there's your game. I mean, there's your goals, at least, in the game. Want to run through a few things here, and then we're going to take all your questions that we got come in. Power play woes. Power play woes continue. Is it fixable at all, Razor, without David Pastrnak there? The easy answer is, at least I think, is probably not, because it's basically, it's a 4-on-4 is basically what it is. And the opponent continues to be ultra aggressive against the Bruins. And until the Bruins decide to get, move, shoot, instead of get, force, wait, regroup, try to, I don't think it's going to change. I just don't. They're not giving themselves, they are not creating any chaos out there by waiting and trying to force passes. And give the opponent credit, blah, 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 all that stuff, for organizing it. But I don't see a change, because they've got no threat on that other side. And they're going to try and reload maybe Taylor Hall over on that side, but you can't force it through the seam. I would like to see them move it to the point, have Charlie shoot it once or twice if he's going to be the top guy. Try and get it through, regroup the puck, and move it then over to Taylor Hall for a reload. But again, simple game sitting here behind the mic.
Yeah, they don't have anybody that can shoot the puck. They don't have a right-handed shot. It's too bad. Smitty, they don't have anyone that can shoot the puck over there. And they tried Frodin, and he got a few one-timers off. He didn't hit the net, unfortunately. But if he dials in his sights, and they put him over there, it seems like that's the only guy that had an opportunity, but no one else can shoot the puck. That's the dilemma that Bruins have. The Bruins have that dilemma with their defense, 5-on-5. None of their defensemen can shoot the puck well enough. They can't get the puck through offensively enough. And even Charlie McAvoy, for all the offensive improvements he's made to his game, still doesn't pose a threat back there. So they can't put 2D back there. They don't have someone that can shoot the puck. So then it's very easy to just put 4 guys on a penalty kill, overload it on one side, put it all down low. There's no seam plays, there's no down low plays, and they're daring the Bruins to shoot it from up high because they just front everything. It's too easy, and that's not changing. It's not changing until David comes back, and maybe Lindholm could come back early, and maybe he changes it a little bit because you could put him over there. But at this point right now, with those 2 guys out, it's not really going to get better because it's too easy to defend.
Yeah. It goes to show how one-timing a hockey puck is one of the harder things to do in all of pro sports. I got to imagine, I mean, I played baseball until, through my senior year of high school. I'm not saying, I was, I could play ball, but I'm saying hitting a baseball from a major leaguer's got to be brutally tough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievably tough. I could pick every sport and say something, but having to hit a one-timer on a bullet pass through the seam, or, these guys, these few guys, the Stamkoses, the Ovechkins, the Pasternaks, they make it seem so easy because they do it regularly. It goes to show how freaking hard it is, even at the NHL level, and how much you miss that special, unique ability when somebody like that is out.
We've said it 100 times. There's 4 guys on the planet that can do what David does. Literally, there's 4 guys on the planet that can hit the one-timer, can beat the goalie with pace. And Bruce says
at the NHL level.
He's been saying it for the last 2 weeks with David out. David beats goalies with his shot. There's 3 or 4 guys in the league that can do that, in the world that can do that actually beat an NHL goaltender with their shot. Everyone else, it's a tip, a screen, a deception, a play that someone else has to make. David can do it on his own, and there's only him, Matthews, Stamkos, Ovi, that Draisaitl that do that, and that's why they get 40 and 50 goals a year, and no one else does, because it's that hard, it's that unique.
And it's interesting you bring up. I was going to say let's rank them quickly, but you brought up the guys. Now Draisaitl does his from a lower spot, and it's more of a one-time snapshot almost from down low.
Yeah.
Stamkos, Ovechkin, and Pastrnak, all being righties, hammer it with a full slap shot from the offside. Matthews does a mix of it. Matthews can one-time. Matthews reloads.
And right, so right-hand dominant, so that's why the righties are typically shoot it harder, because their bottom hand is stronger, typically. That's why the lefty is typically a passer, a playmaker, and there's not as many of those guys, and they have to do it a different way. That's what we teach at goalie school.
Yeah,
right-hand shots usually shoot harder.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, and it's interesting. It's like, I don't see you take it for granted. You appreciate it, but because of how easily they make it look, it becomes everybody should be able to do it. Trust me, folks. Go do it with a ball hockey outside. When it works, it's glorious. I try to teach the kids that it's about timing, but it's really not only about timing, but it's also about their vision. What do their eyes say? When the puck is not just coming, but where, can you get your body and your mind in sync to make that play happen? It's a beautiful thing when it does, but we don't see it that often. But when we do see it often, it's freaking gorgeous. Bruins are going to miss that. All right, real quick again before we get to our questions. Holy shit, Mark McLaughlin, 3 goals, all at home, regardless, but 3 goals in what, 6, maybe 7 games now?
6.
Kid's showing me something. I mean, think about what he's accomplished in this short period of time, and he's done it now as both a right wing and as a center. It is going to help the Bruins' depth. I mean, the Bruins aren't going to be helped much if they don't get these injured guys back. Let's just face facts. They're just not. It's going to be
they have no chance.
They have no chance if these guys aren't coming back. Yeah. If they're back, a guy like McLaughlin, all of a sudden you say, okay, he helps your bottom 6 out. Good for the kid. And I mean, this is a difference maker in the sense of we've seen other guys, for example, a Jack Studnicka come up and just not be able to find his role consistently. McLaughlin, in my eyes, has already taken a step above Jack Studnicka because he's saying, I'm going to finish when I'm out there. At least I'm going to give you a chance to finish when I'm out there.
Yeah, and Froden as well. Both of those guys. For those guys, you need to score goals. I've been saying it. We've talked about it on this. NHL guys all around the league. There's 20-year-olds coming into this league and scoring goals like McLaughlin. That's how you start your NHL career. You need to score 5 or 6 goals in your first 12 games to get on the board, to get some traction, because it is going to go the other way at some point. But if you have those in the bank right out of the gate, that's how you stay in the league, because they feel like they need to continue to put you in. And that's how all of these guys get their start in the NHL. That's how Patrice got his start. That's how these guys end up figuring it out and staying in the league. Is you have to score early and a little bit often just to stick around. And he's doing that. You can't take him out of the lineup because of it now. He's putting himself there. And again, it does help their depth because we were concerned about that. And now all of a sudden, if you have a Froden, if you have a Bleed, if you have a McLaughlin skating on your fifth line, all of a sudden you can sustain an injury or two up front throughout the first couple rounds of the playoffs and feel okay about it. Not great, but okay about it.
But it gives you something, right? It gives you something, and that you can rely. In theory, you can rely on. I tell you, I like the fact that he gets pucks. I've watched him at the blue line a few times, and I can tell like he's thinking pass. But you know what? I better put it deep. I better just get it deep, not to screw up, so to speak. And then he gets his legs going, and he allows his teammates to keep their legs going. There's going to be hiccups here and there, but early on, kid's focused. He's determined. He's getting his ass to the front of the net. Good for him.
And you know what? He's also right now, anyways, he's got a very good trait in the fact that he can play 7 minutes, but still has an engine every time he gets over the boards. Doesn't seem like he needs ice time to play to keep his feet moving, which we've seen. Some guys that are younger feel like they need ice time to get going and feel like they need to be on. He doesn't. It doesn't look that way with him and Froden for that matter. It feels like they can generate energy in a short supply of minutes.
I'd agree. I think there's something to be said for a kid who's kind of battled against the odds for a couple of years, right? With McLaughlin undrafted, and and he has that mentality, and therefore that he's putting out there, which makes what a guy like Curtis Lazar does, I think, very impressive. First round pick, and he has completely accepted his role. Now, maybe it's taken a few years. I don't know Curtis that well, considering the whole COVID thing. Yeah, but knowing how he has changed his hockey DNA from star to I'm a role player, and holy shit, has he been good lately? Like I'm trying to find some of the positives here because I'm concerned, like I think a lot of other people are too, given that we have a lot of unknown with this team right now, given especially with the injuries. What we don't have unknown is that we have 3 fantastic partner sponsors, Razor, that continue to support us here at Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Let's start with our friends over at Bay State Brewing, one of the great kind of craft breweries in the Worcester area, which has become just a fun spot for craft beer. They're located at 112 Harding Street in Worcester. Their new tap room is located attached to 2 hockey rinks and just a couple of blocks from the Woo Sox new ballpark. The Woo Sox just got going too. So if you're going to a Woo Sox game, go out and spend some time at Bay State Brewing. Got a full kitchen with pizzas, salads, buffalo chicken, dip sandwiches, everything there. They've got great food, indoor and outdoor seating. Oh, by the way, when you're there too, get one of the unique beers. I don't know if you can see this one. The YouTube again, Becky likes the smell. And I had it. And I got to tell you something. Even though it's a double IPA, not heavy. Not heavy. It was outstanding. And so go try Becky Likes the Smell if you like double IPAs. They got all different type of beers, distinctive and drinkable beers. Since 2012, they've been pulling it off there. Again, 112 Harding Street in Worcester, Bay State Brewing. Also, Fazenda Coffee. I made my big pot of French roast this morning and enjoying that big time. And fazendacoffee.com. Use the code MORNINGBREW at checkout. Get 15% off for a great coffee. You got ice stuff going this morning as usual, right?
Yes, sir.
Caffeine fixer. Coffee. You got a house full of people in there. We got to get you probably some more bags. Aaron can make 2 pots for all the people. Razor's got the whole family in for Easter, huh?
I do. Parents, sister, niece, brother-in-law. So yeah, there's 2 pots to this morning of Fazenda was cooking this morning.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Go check out fazendacoffee.com. Go to Whole Foods, go to Davio's, Bluebird Cafe and Grill in West Newton. They're serving it. So go check out fazendacoffee.com. And you know what Fazenda has, Razor? Mugs. It's official.
Oh, jeez.
Morning Brew mugs are back in. And starting with the next show, we will tell you how to get them. Fazenda went out and we got some more mugs. So these beauties right here, again, if you're on YouTube, you can see them. If not, Fazenda will be selling morning brew mugs, and you guys can go get them. So I kind of played it down. I wanted to have the big release right here. I got the call yesterday from our guy Pete over at Fazenda. He goes, "You never guess what we got in?" And I said, "Oh, mugs." So we'll tell you what you got to do to get some of those. And lastly, Max Pro Hockey, maxprohockey.com. Max Grachev, one of the great hockey instructors, skills instructors, and really a hell of a guy too. Let's just say he doesn't yell the way a certain Junior Eagles 2010 coach does. Quite the different attitude or approach on the ice. Unique skills training on the ice, does dry land too. Individual or team or semi-private or full team. He'll do all that. Go check out maxprohockey.com. The kids next week, right? Have a little. Are you gonna heading out to Max Pro next week?
Yeah, hopefully. We're kind of in and out all week, but yeah, I got to get them on the ice a couple times, get them out of the house.
All right, yeah, definitely go do that and check out maxprohockey.com. Right, all right, Razor. Let's rifle through a couple of these. We got a ton of stuff that came in, and I just put this out at 8:30 in the morning or so. And we'll get 10 minutes of our listener questions in. We're going to start with Maria of Watertown. Simple question: are the Bruins in trouble? I didn't get that vibe from you last night post game. They are in trouble if they don't get these guys back, and I can't get a feel on if they're close or not. And I will tell you, to me, it doesn't feel that they are. Obviously, Grizz was able to play Thursday night. He's dealing with something. My guess is this is going to be something he's going to have to deal with in the offseason. Just, looking at it, in and out, it's pain management, tolerance. This is my guess, Razor.
Yeah.
Okay. Hampus and David and Carlo, especially the first two, meaning they've been out longer than Carlo. No clue whatsoever. They were good enough to put on uniforms, I'm told, to take the team picture and go out there. We know that they've skated a couple of times, but I don't know, man. It's starting to go longer than I thought too, but what the hell do I know?
No, they're not in trouble. No, they're not in trouble. They're in a holding pattern. They're in the playoffs, and they have very important injuries. Now, ask me in probably 9 days, 10 days.
How many games left, Razor, is the right amount? I'm going to say 4 games for these guys.
I was going to say 3. I'm looking at, you look at the calendar. If they're back on the 25th, right? They play the 26th, 28th, 29th. Is that right?
Yeah.
They get those games in. No issues, no worries, because they're good players. David's not going to need a lot. Lindholm, David's going to come in. He's going to get a hat trick his first game. David's going to come in. He's going to get a goal and 2 assists in his first game. Lindholm's going to play 25 minutes when he comes back. Like, those guys are elite players that don't need a lot. Mm-hmm. Carlo is a problem because of his head. So he needs to be back and play a few games, I would suggest. So no, they're not in trouble. They have 10 days to not be in trouble. And then in 10 days, even if they lose every game next week, I'm still not saying they're in trouble until the 25th and these guys are not in the lineup. Then I'm saying there's concern.
All right. So we're giving them a week. Them a week.
Yep.
Right. 25th today, or we're giving them 10. You're giving them 10 days. I'm going to say they need 4 games, if only because I just looked at the schedule and I thought, okay, you rev up, but whatever, 3-4 games. Let's not split hairs. I understand that. It doesn't feel great, but that's just because we live in the moment as non-players, meaning and fans and broadcasters. We're looking outside in. They know that it's not flipping a switch. I don't think this team is good enough, Razor, to flip a switch. I don't.
No, and they're going to play too good of an opponent to do that. So, right. but I'm not. I also don't think like their game's so bad that they have to flip a switch. Like it's not that far away. The power play stinks. That's the difference right now. It really is. They wouldn't have lost 3 or 4 games had their power play scored a goal or 2 at the right time.
Right.
It just they're not that far off, and they also went on a monster run since February 1st, and they're due for some puck luck where you lose 3 out of 4. Like you're just.
Let me ask you this again though, and 17 of those 21 games were wins of those against teams not in the playoffs.
Yeah. No,
is that so? Was that fool's gold? I mean, we're using
no.
Hindsight, clairvoyant, 2020. Was that fool's gold or no?
No, it's not fool's gold because you
Okay.
just lost to Ottawa last night. And we're talking about losing to Ottawa, right? So it doesn't work both ways. You still got to win in the NHL. That's
Right.
still an issue come playoff time. Are they a good enough team? That's a whole separate conversation. But no, I don't.
right.
It doesn't matter to me. No.
All right, Nick talks about Carlo. Where is his game gone this season, Nick? That seems like a lot of physical and mental mistakes. What do you think he can do to get back to form? He hasn't had a consistent season this year, Brandon Carlo. I wonder if that's residual effect of his injuries. It must, to me, that's the biggest reason, Razor, in that it's been fits and starts. We've seen a few games where he is that big, long, closing defenseman, getting the pucks, getting them out, blocking shots. We know he's not the most, physical defenseman. Even though he's big, it's more about containment. There have been other games this year where he's lost a lot of battles, been out of position, been caught flat-footed. Is it just one? Look, everybody has bad years. Everybody does throughout their career of anything they're doing. You think that that's what it is?
Well,
it's inconsistent. That's for sure.
It's certainly inconsistent. It's certainly you long for that dominant Toronto Maple Leaf series where he shut everybody down, and you want that to continue to stack up. You want that to be elevated more. You can. I think just having him play a full season this year, or hopefully the next couple weeks. Don't forget COVID, bubble, missing last season, getting knocked out of the playoffs last year with another head injury. What kind of summer he had? Shorter summer, shorter season this year. So he still might be in that. It's certainly not unsalvageable. I don't look at him that way. I think he had a tough season. I think he's had a tough 24 months, and you just hope that this isn't a big deal right now. He gets in, finishes the playoffs, and then can have a normal summer and have a normal season next year. That would be the way. That'd be the way I look at it for him right now.
Well,
still a young
I'm with
guy.
you. It's been very inconsistent though this year. Very and noticeably inconsistent for a guy that is an important piece of the puzzle. This one from Trigger: is a Sean a better option than Riley? Trigger goes on to say that he feels that Riley at times cost the team more games than other Bruins, with some icings, turnovers, hesitation. I'm reading quickly. Thanks, guys. Is a Sean a better option than Riley? I'm not playing a Sean and Grizz in the same lineup. I know that Riley's not huge, but just from a physical perspective, I'm not playing both in the same lineup at the same time. Are you?
No, and I would assume that Riley's not going to be with Grzelcyk in the same lineup either come playoff time, but they have to have that at this point. You have Lindholm out, Carlo out, so someone's got to play. So Jack Sean is a nice little prospect that might turn out, but no, he's not changing anything right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not playing unless it's end of the season.
Unless 5 injuries happen,
right?
Then he gets in, but otherwise, he's just an AHL player right now.
Right. Dimitri says this is for Razor, but then Billy, of course, you can chime in. Yes, I never really shut my mouth. Razor, can you share some insights on how players in the room are handling getting out of a losing streak like this 3-game losing streak, which, by the way, they haven't had all year. The last team in the NHL to have a 3-game losing streak. Do habits change? What is the vibe like among the players? Does this slump happening so close to the playoffs add more pressure? That's from our buddy Dimitri.
It doesn't add more pressure. It doesn't matter when it is. Guys are in a bad mood. You do get annoyed. You got to listen to the coach. You got to do an extra video. It's a little harder to go to the rink, but like you just said, this isn't a losing streak. This is a losing streak 6 in a row, and you're fighting for a playoff spot, and you're 3 points out, and that adds pressure. This is guys are gone through this enough. And like you said, this is the last team in the NHL to have a 3-game losing streak. That means Florida had one. That means Carolina had one. That means Rangers. All these great teams that everyone says had 3-game losing streaks, and their fan base was doing the exact same thing we are right now. So it's guys in the room don't look at it that way. Again, not as happy eating their breakfast this morning, a little miserable. There's a couple guys that are in bad moods this morning, and it feels more like work today, but that's it. Beyond that, they look forward to playing tomorrow.
Yeah. Need a good practice on Friday, right? It's the old clean it out, clean it up, get ready for the afternoon game, which is always those odd 12:30 starts. We'll see how for everybody, both teams, Pitt and Boston. Ed Marshall, 723. When did Hall become more of a creator than a scorer? Loving his game. Huge asset on this team, but he simply needs to shoot the puck more and defer less. He had the second period last night? A really good opportunity and rifled it over the net. I got to tell you something. Hall's been really good since the line change. Obviously. But anybody could analyze that. But I feel the confidence in his game. I feel like he has been shooting more. You know what? I need to do this. Maybe I'll do it for you, Ed. I'm curious to see if his shot numbers or totals are actually up since the line changed too. They must be. At least in my eye test would say that they are. He's always been a guy, though, that likes to carry the puck, have it on his stick, and then create. It's always been that way with Taylor Hall. He's had some years where he scored more, but a lot of that was, I guess the puck, he didn't have a posture knock to pass to. But he hasn't been their issue at all lately. He's been damn good.
Yeah, he's good. He's a 20-50 guy, right? Like that's more what he is. I know he had 40 goals when he won the MVP, 39 goals, but he's more of a 20, 22
25
goal guy.
Yeah.
With 45, 50 assists. That's his MO, and he's done that to a T for the Bruins. He's been, pushes the pace every night he's on the ice. He's doing a good job.
Couple more. This one from Mike K. Kamish. Kamysz. We talked about this a little bit. How does the NHL fix the officiating issue? Blah, blah, blah. The linesman didn't even know how to get out of the way last night. Okay. Having been a linesman, I can tell you, you never want to be in the way. It's tough at times. The game is very fast. It's about movement. It's about feel. Sometimes you got to go deep in the zone and use your partner to, cover up for you and everything. But, getting hit by a puck and by a player as an official sucks, Razor. A, it's embarrassing. Yeah. B, it hurts. I mean, it's the other thing too. Yeah. My issue with the linesman, if we're picking on linesmen here, is I go the face-offs. I go back to that. It's get in, line up, go. I know we want them fair, but there's so much management of them, over management, that it loses me there. Like, come on, get them in, drop the puck, and go. By the way, we saw an official last night kick a puck to
incredible. Incredible.
I saw it, and then you're supposed to jump out of the way. I wonder if the official there, it was a referee, I don't remember which one, if it was Walsh or Severette. I wonder if he felt that there was pressure coming to him, so he just moved it out of the way so that nobody would run into him. He kicked the puck right to a Bruin. Who was it? Riley? He kicked it. Riley. It was Riley. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Funny but odd.
Yeah, funny, but that is not something you should ever do.
Right.
Like someone's telling him, like, what are you doing?
Right. That's a easy one for Stephen Walcom to say.
That and the Patrice penalty. Those two things are right in that guy's mailbox this morning.
Two more here. One more, actually. Andrew says, by the way, I learned that you never call Andrew Raycroft Andy. Never.
No.
And his mom's at his house right now, and I would actually invite her on and ask her if she's ever called him Andy, but I don't want to get my hand slapped. She'd probably say, "Who's Andy?"
Yeah, that's what she would.
This Andrew says, the full name is medium quality co-host. Oh, Andrew from, all right. Structure and puck possession have always been this team's identity this year. With the health and team with health, this team can compete with anyone, Andrew writes. He's mad about the loss, but the health has clouded a lot the team is actually doing. They're a lot closer to that team we saw in January, March. The context matters. And I think that's a good way to kind of end the show, because that's Razor. You've been saying that. I agree. I still don't like some of the structure mistakes at blue line and blue line. We've seen too many pucks turned over at within 5 to 8 feet of the offensive blue line. We've seen too many times Bruins D get beat, and we've seen some defensive zone structure issues. And I understand top hand players out of the lineup matter, but you still have to have that. So let's, I guess I'm saying the same thing as our buddy Andrew does say here. Got to get back to that. Got to figure it out. Bruins are going to play Saturday, 12:30 against Pitt. And then they got a couple of games next week. Tuesday. Are we Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday again next week?
Yes.
Is that right?
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
All right. That's right. Tuesday in St. Louis, Thursday somewhere else, and then Saturday. Oh, Pitt, back in Pitt, and then back home to face the Rangers. Razor, you and I will be back doing a morning brew after the St. Louis game on Tuesday night, a game that is not carried on Nesson, but you and I will do a show right after the game. All right, a long one today. Good stuff, though. Razor's going to go entertain his family now. He had 48 minutes away from them. Try and enjoy. You will, all kidding aside. Have a great time with mom, dad, sister, brother-in-law, niece, everybody, all the kiddies at home. I hope everybody has a great day today, despite the fact the Bruins lose 3-2 to the Ottawa Senators. Have a good Friday. And again, if you're doing Passover on Friday night, have a good Passover. Try and have a good day. Have great coffee, though. Don't mess around with that. And then you know what? It's almost 12 o'clock. Close enough to go enjoy a Bay State beverage as well. Thanks to all of our sponsors. In particular, thank you to Berkshire Bank for continuing to be the lead sponsor of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Everybody have a wonderful day. And as always, enjoy your coffee.